walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explore right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight? My name is 12 Gauge. Welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, thank you for continuing to come back and showing me the perseverance to come back and give my channel a try one more time. Tonight I'm going to be talking about a very interesting topic that is close to my heart, as well as something that has to do with the state of our country. Many times people don't take into account the homeless veterans that we have that came back from Afghanistan, Iraq, all those areas that they were fighting in for so many years. And it's one thing to come back to a country that doesn't really understand why you left to begin with or what you were fighting for, or to find out that maybe what you were fighting for wasn't the real reason that you were fighting at all. Whatever the reason, there's been countless marriages, relationships, families, where these individuals came back to a world they didn't understand, they didn't fit into. And this isn't the first time that this has happened. A lot of this has happened during the Vietnam War, during the Korean War, during World War I, World War II. Those wars created a counterculture where people came back and didn't didn't have a place to call home anymore. And that is sad, if you ask me, for people that sign up to protect our rights and they come back to a place where they don't understand or they fit in anymore. So I wanted to highlight the the problem of this situation because I think it's needed to be documented and talked about. You know, um, I want to show a couple of videos that I found to talk about this problem because I don't I don't see it being talked about enough. And it's sad that these individuals can go and fight for our country, defend our freedom, and still they come home to a world they don't know. There's 50,000 homeless veterans nationwide. 50,000 or more. And whenever we have illegals coming into our country and are given just about anything and everything that they want or need in order to start a life, I think there's something wrong with that. I think there's a lot wrong with that. What do y'all think? Y'all think it's fair that we take care of others first before we take care of our own? Tell me what you think. I'm about to play this video. We're going to discuss it. Like I said, a lot of the topics I discuss on my channel are not the most popular because the most popular at this point is still talking about what happened in Idaho. What happened in Idaho? You know what? One day we'll know what happened in Idaho. And honestly, the more that I hear about it, the more I hope that people are wrong that have their speculations on it. And I know that's bad to be of me, but I think they need to give it a rest already. They need to leave it alone already. Focus on something that's meaningful. Because, like I've said before, we can talk on the dead all we want. But what about the living? How come we don't talk about them? How come we don't talk about the living as much as we talk about the dead? That kind of is annoying to me. It's very annoying. But let's watch this video and tell me what you think. And here we go.
It's a cool morning, late October. People in these tents begin to rise. A passing train, their wake-up call. This is Camp Bravo, next to Santa Rita Park on Tucson's south side, a place where homeless vets and others can.
Sorry, the internet is kind of slow here for whatever reason. Can y'all still hear me? I'm trying to fix the problem. Yeah, y'all can still hear me? Okay. Yeah, I'm in a hotel and it has weak internet, probably because there's 100 or more people in the room sucking up the internet on their iPhones and stuff. You know how the iPhones, they tend to suck up internet really hardcore. Hold on a second. Let me refresh this page. Well, anyways, it's very unsettling to me that the veterans have to be treated the way they're treated. It's terrible that they can fight for our country
and others can find comfort, food, and shelter. The camp is run by Veterans on Patrol, a program of Walking for the Forgotten Ministries. Leaders of this effort seek out homeless vets and offer safe haven, camaraderie, and a path to support services.
Atlantic, Pacific.
Bravo is patrolled round the clock in shifts. Manny was on night watch. This is Calamity. She came in during the night in need of help.
I was 101st Airborne. I actually went in as a voice radio operator, but when they found out that I had some pretty extensive medical background, they made me an expert field medic. I jumped out of a perfectly good aircraft with a medical bag and tried to attend to folks that needed help. This is for your immune system.
Yeah, he does. He backs the big dog raw.
Has magnesium and C coming up. My name is Martin Marsalak. Everybody here calls me Doc. I am the base commander and chief medical officer, so I kind of keep things rolling along here. This is vitamin C, keep you from catching a cold.
That's awesome that people step up and do their part to help people. Like that individual stepped up and he had training. So he stepped up and was helping people pass medicine and do what he could to do his part.
Our mission is to go out and find as many homeless veterans that we can possibly locate, bring them in, try to transition them from homelessness to housing, get them medical care, things that they've been doing without for so many years. I'll have to get the make and model of this thing, give the VA a call, have them get you another mirror.
We have something here that I've never found anywhere else. We have a VA navigator, somebody who knows the system, knows who to talk to, knows who to call if you don't get what you need, and he does it for us. And that's Doc. He's just the best there is.
I'll call a couple of the mobility places here and see if we can get some spare parts for that one.
At least I can get around.
Absolutely. Scrambled eggs and bacon. They should be happy.
Camp Bravo, officially known as Bravo Base, is one of several in Arizona, including Camp Alpha in Phoenix, Charlie in Nogales, and Delta south of Prescott. The portable toilets are donated and maintained by Diggins Environmental Services. The land, water, and electricity by HMS Fasteners. Both are local companies sympathetic to their cause. Food, clothing, and other supplies are donated by the public.
We've got a lot of really good people out there that are helping us out and keeping us going here.
There are around 20 residents on base, mostly vets and a few civilians. Some move on and others take their place.
You can't turn them away. I can't turn them away.
Manny Jimenez is 66 years old and has been homeless for more than a year.
Somebody needs to take a picture of that. Yeah.
He's been here at Bravo for several months.
You know, that's so kind and caring that, you know, they're not turned away because of their circumstance. You know, they're able to be treated with dignity and respect, something that isn't shown a lot of times in our world today. You know, people say, what this got to do with true crime? Well, this has everything to do with true crime. Because you know what? It's criminal the way that certain people are treated in our country. It's criminal that you can join the armed forces and you can go fight for our country and come back to nothing. Even though you fought for our country and you get wages and you get the GI Bill and things of that nature, you know, everything is so backed up that, you know, it's difficult to get any kind of help, especially if you're having any kind of major issues going on. So these camps are sprouting up all over the place. And as you can tell, they're living out of a tent, just as if they were living in the desert across the world. I mean, I don't know about you, but it would anger me if I fought for our country and had to come back to this. And not only these individuals that fought for our country, what about the citizens that can't afford rent, food, gasoline, childcare, or even are working 2, 3, 4 jobs in order to make things to be livable in today's world?
4 years on the USS Pawcatuck, an attack oiler. That's a tanker with pom-pom guns. Great against jets. 3 more years merchant marines. Yes, I'm an old merchant seaman, drying up in Arizona.
3 times a week, Manny travels to a VA hospital for treatment.
My liver and kidneys are not doing what they're supposed to do. So they hook up the dialysis to it and clean out my blood and return it to me. And that's about it. This side got infected, so I had to move that side.
To live here, there are 8 rules they must follow, including no drugs, no alcohol, and no smoking in tents.
The third rule is residents need to help around the base on a daily basis. Stuff buried.
One way they are helping is by maintaining nearby property. Here, they remove trash and debris from a trackside ravine.
Well, I haven't found any needles or anything yet, so that's a good thing. They work to stay here. They all have various job tasks assigned to them.
Through donations from the public, they have enough supplies to share with folks outside the camp, and they do every day.
Little snack food in there. There's some peanut butter, some ravioli, good stuff like that.
We love that stuff. Thank you.
Hey, you're very welcome. You guys take care out there. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Anybody that needs food can come here and get it. There you go. Right now, we're preparing roughly 200 food boxes a week. It's hot. Be careful. Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thank you for bringing him over.
What began with just a few tents more than a year ago has grown both in size and organization. Camp Bravo has become a refuge for many, but memories of life without shelter or protection are close.
For me, it was daily uncertainty, not knowing where you're going to get your next meal, not knowing where you're going to spend the night the next night, where it's going to be safe, not knowing if somebody's going to come up and club you in the head while you're sleeping and steal what little bit of belongings you have.
That's a sad reality right there. Not knowing where you're going to get your next meal, not knowing if somebody's going to come take you out and steal all your belongings while you're sleeping. And I'm sorry to hear that, Kim. You said many of the vets have PTSD. My brother does. 101 airborne, very dysfunctional. Since mom passed, it's up to you to make sure he gets his money and his house payment is made. Yeah, it's somebody has to do it. You know what I mean? You said mom made it possible with trust, but I have to make sure her wishes are completed. That's true. That's true that somebody has to step up, even if you don't want to. Their family, you know? A lot of people don't have anyone. A lot of people are all by themselves with responsibilities. And if they're having PTSD or any kind of mental health issues, hey Heather, how you doing? They're pretty much out there on the street all alone, not really getting the help that they need or the direction they need. And most people look down on the homeless. And these individuals fought for our country. They enlisted voluntarily to go defend a country who basically turns their back on them in so many regards with very limited resources due to the funds and everything that's been cut when they come home.
Had to eat out at dumpsters. I can't talk about it.
I think the biggest challenge is the guy who yells, "Get a job." You know, um, the people who just don't see you, you feel invisible, and that's the most horrid thing in the world. It's just not to be recognized, not to be acknowledged. People don't want to see it. We want to pretend it doesn't exist.
I got kicked off the stage. Can y'all hear me? I'm back. I'm back. Can y'all hear me? Hello? I was saying, a lot of people don't have anywhere to go. Um, they're on their own. They come back to a world they don't recognize. They come back to people that meet them with chastisement, and they come back to situations where people talk down to them and make them feel less than. Nobody should ever be made feel like they're not good enough for this world. It's sad that there are hateful people in this world. Like I was saying about the true crime community, it even happened in there. We have people that spread hatred and envy towards other people based on stupid criminal cases that nobody has any interest in other than to try to see who the smartest in the room is. Is it really going to matter in 5 years, some of these cases that are going on that people have so much involvement in, have so much interest in, that they should be putting the energy into helping those who need the help? What could we do on this platform to get a lot of things changed in a positive way? What could we do to really try to make a change in our world? Honestly, I was approached about going on a panel Friday to discuss the Idaho 4 case, of course, because that's the hot topic. And I declined because that's not my deal. I don't want to be on a panel talking back and forth about pro versus against. If people were so smart, and I know there's a lot of smart people that I talk to, and this has nothing to do with you, but there's not smart people that believe that they're smarter than everybody else. And to those people, they want to show the world that for whatever reason, they have cases wrapped up. Exactly. And what do you get out of that? I mean, what do you get out of that? Having arguments on a YouTube panel. I mean, what's that really going to solve? It's kind of like going back into cases and rehashing them and discussing situations where you've talked about 100 million times. What are you going to get from that? And people say, well, it's always good to talk about things. Talk about what? What could you possibly see in a photo, in a video, listen to a recording that you haven't heard or seen before? Look at a car circling a building or watching 3 flashlights come out the back door where a 15-year-old child went missing. It's pointless. It's pointless. People ask me all the time, do I believe that Brian is guilty? Do I believe that he's innocent? And sometimes I want to mess with people And I want to say, yeah, I believe he's guilty. I believe he's guilty because he's in jail right now. Is that how I really feel? You decide. I've been called a guilter. I've been called a lot of names and it's stupid. You know, so I'll say that tonight. I believe he's guilty. He's in jail for it. The only thing that makes him innocent is he hasn't went to trial yet. As far as having enough evidence to arrest him and indict him, I'm not getting into all that mess. Somebody saw it fit for him to be arrested, indicted, and put in jail with no bail. So whoever did that, they did their job. That's where I'm standing with it today. You know? So if you unsubscribe due to that, I'm sorry. Tomorrow I might believe he's innocent. You could hang on long enough to not unsubscribe and see if I change my mind. Because that's the wonderful thing about life is we go off emotion. One day we're pro something, and tomorrow we could be against it. And then the next day we could be undecided. And then we could be indifferent. The wonderful world of emotional roller coasters where, you know, it's amazing to be a human being because you don't have to be right about everything and you don't have to be wrong about everything. And it's okay to be who you are and think what you want without having to portray your beliefs on other people to try to get them to change to be just like you. I love the world of unique differences because we all are different in very different ways. We don't all have to agree in order to get to the same result because it doesn't matter how you finish, it's how you got there. This should be the learning curve. And if more people understood that, possibly some of these things wouldn't get as outrageous as they do. You know, you have people talking about this and that and this and that and everything under the sun. It reminds me of a Fast and the Furious movie. Hey, Jeff, you remember in the Fast and the Furious movies in the beginning where it was about street racing, remember? And it was about, you know, and then it went into stealing fuel, and then it went into all this other stuff. Before long, they were busting up criminals. They were hunting down criminals and this and that and the other. They're kind of like the Jason movie. Jason Go to Space and Jason Part 10 or something. Jason versus Freddy. You know, it's like you have to continuously grow the narrative. Otherwise, you feel that you're losing the audience. And that's what it feels like. It feels like every day there must be another piece of some kind of diabolical sequel in order to not lose the audience. But you know what? Once this trial is over, and if that's the audience that you are a part of, and you don't open your mind to other things or other cases, it's going to be like the biggest hangover on the planet because you're going to have nothing else to talk about. And I'm talking about the Idaho 4. You know how the Sebastian Rogers case kind of fizzled out? They still haven't found him. You don't really hear about him anymore. I feel for that little boy. If he's still alive, I feel for him. I hope that he's okay. I hope that he's safe and that he's taking his medicine and that he is able to one day show up and show the world that exactly what happened. Exactly, Jeff. You remember when we used to watch the evening news? You'd watch it at 12, you'd watch it at 3, you'd watch it at 6, and you'd watch it at 10. By 10 o'clock, there was really not much that you didn't hear the rest of the day. You know what I mean? So by 10 o'clock, the news was kind of like, oh, I heard this at noon, or I heard this. This is a continuum of what happened at 3 or whatever. It was never not a lot more news going on. But they still had to say something, you know? That's awesome, Heather. I'm new to this community, you know? I'm new to really researching criminal activities because, you know, I haven't been really interested in it until I changed fields. And it's really not rocket science. I've been talking about it for about 4 or 5 months now, maybe 6 months at least. And it's not anything different, honestly. Not that I can see. I mean, I've even thought of, when I get my degree, becoming a private investigator to really do the hands-on type stuff. That way I can really understand from start to finish what it's like to investigate a crime, to investigate people, things like that. I think that would be interesting. But I thought I'd hop on here and talk about the homeless because they need to be talked on. The homeless veterans. Let's watch another video. Well, I don't plan on going anywhere either anytime soon. I'm just done with certain creators, though. I'm done with certain people. I'm going back to do my own thing. I started my channel by myself. I didn't have a lot of people coming up on my panel. I wasn't going all over the place. So I'm going back to being a loner on here. The other way is too much dramatic crap. Here we go. Let's watch this video.
From the front lines are facing a sad and stunning statistic. By one estimate, nearly 50,000 veterans will experience homelessness each year. But there are new efforts to help vets who have fallen through the cracks. And just this week, a sign of progress. Here's ABC's Bob Woodruff.
This is me.
Last month in downtown New Orleans, U.S. Army.
I'm having internet issues, guys.
Army vet Darren Dalpiez finally found a home. He has been homeless for over 10 years, living in a tent in the woods and on the streets.
I got windows. Look at the view. Oh my goodness, for real, this is fault for me?
But this past holiday, he and 25 other homeless vets got addresses of their own, thanks to the work of a nonprofit, Unity.
These are permanent apartments where each tenant has a lease and they can live here for the rest of their lives.
This week, New Orleans will announce that it has successfully met its goal and housed all 193 of its homeless veterans.
That is awesome.
You are a bunch of angels, is what you are.
One of the architects behind the New Orleans success is Roseanne Haggerty, who has been working on homelessness for 30 years. And she believes that veterans' homelessness can be fixed nationwide. We talked to her in New York.
New York still has a problem with veterans that are homeless?
Yeah, about 900 veterans are homeless in New York.
Really? Still?
We know their names, and we're on a course to get that solved. It's basically smart problem solving. If you were in business, you would figure out who's the customer, what do I know about them? It's bringing that kind of discipline to solving a complex social problem.
There have been big promises before.
President Obama and I are personally committed to ending homelessness among veterans.
And missed deadlines, but also success stories.
How you doing?
Phoenix announced in 2013 it had successfully ended crime.
I have a question that was just asked. Let me answer his question or her question. The question says, I'm not about housing first, though. How about you, Gage? I would say that, if you have individuals that have medical issues, that you kind of do like a triage to get their mental health in order and slowly integrate them into a new residence, possibly see what their job skills are, if they've worked, what their job was in the military, see if you can possibly fit them into a job, into the community, continue integrating them into a place that's safe for them. Yes, exactly. We need assessments and tiers of advocacy. Yes, you're right. Yes, because once you get them stable, the individual, whether it be a vet or whether it be a homeless person on the street, if you can get them stable, if they have any kind of trauma, PTSD, or anything like that, then they're going to be more apt to take care of their residents than if you just house them without addressing their other issues. Like if you're stable mentally, you get them set up with a doctor, you get their medications, you kind of monitor them taking, kind of like a halfway house. You would have somebody monitor the house or the housing that goes around and kind of make sure people are taking their medicines, things of that nature, or if their medicine is out, that you assist them in getting their medication. Because if you can keep people mentally stable, they have a lot better opportunity to continue the momentum that they've started. And I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that I hope it gets better for you. I really do. It's a tough area to be. I've known quite a bit of people that have been there. Yes, indeed. Yes, it does. What I've worked in shelters, and I've worked in halfway houses and things of that nature. So hopefully you can get yourself continuing, to go forward and the thing change for you. Because it is hard. It's hard as hell. And I think people have the misconstruement that people become homeless because of choice. I don't know anybody in their right mind that would say, you know what, it's hot as hell outside. Let me just throw my house away. Let me throw my vehicle away. Let me throw everything away and go sleep on the street. I don't know anybody in their right mind that would do that. Or vice versa. It's cold as hell outside. Let me go and do this. I don't know anybody that would do that. And it's hard It's hard. It's hard whenever, you might lose a job or you might not be making as much money as the rent is, or, all your money's going toward the rent and you don't have enough for food, or you don't have enough for this, or you don't have enough for that. I mean, it's difficult.
Chronic homelessness among vets.
We've made a concerted effort the last couple of years to rapidly rehouse as many veterans as possible.
So why are veterans at risk for homelessness? Experts point to a variety of factors like strained relationships with friends and family, and the difficulty vets can have landing jobs after coming home.
I was homeless because I never fit in nowhere, and I just kept moving.
That awareness of PTSD, of the hidden injuries of war, and how that can play out in people's loss of family and support, that, I think, sensitized the country.
Los Angeles is home to some of the highest numbers of veteran homeless, including many Vietnam vets, a problem I saw firsthand in the city's notorious Skid Row. Still, nationally, the number of homeless veterans has dropped by about 33% in the last 4 years, largely because the VA is working closely with local nonprofit organizations. But there's still work to be done for those who have returned from Iraq and Afghanistan. In the last few years, I have found them outside, across the country, living in their cars.
I use this side to sleep on.
Or sleeping on the bench.
Pretty much like that.
And the worst might still be to come for those more recent vets. Homelessness among Vietnam veterans did not emerge as a major issue until 7 years after the war ended. The Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans Association takes calls from desperate veterans every week.
I was calling to talk to somebody
and passes on the information to the VA.
Now that we're winding down, they're getting out and they're coming home. And many of them are doing well, but some of them are struggling. And we've got to be there for them and have their back when they're at that tough spot.
A critical effort to make sure everyone who put their lives on the line for all of us have a home to come back to.
Oh. Hey, that's sad that we don't view individuals in general that are struggling. We don't view them as people that could use a helping hand. Our first thought a lot of times is they're manipulating the system. You know what I mean? It's like if you have a single parent that's working, or maybe they can't work. Maybe physically they can't work and they need help. Well, they need help. Who are we to gauge why they should or should not get that help? Helping is helping. There should be not so many hoops to jump through to be able to get some help. Or you can only get help so many times and that's it. I know it's different and there's a lot of people that don't believe in that. I believe and think that at a particular point, you give these people incentives and goals and caseworkers and people in their lives that can address their issues to get them to a positive, stable mindset where they're building on the things that they're getting instead of being stuck and not moving forward. Because there are people that need vehicles. There's people that need furniture. There's people that need clothing. How are you going to get a good job if you don't have clothes to go interview in? How are you going to get a good job if you can't even go take a shower? Because there's a lot of places that'll turn you away or run you off. There's a lot of people that do the best they can with what they got. There's people that have been incarcerated that get thrown to the streets by their loved ones because they can't handle it. They don't want the burden. But what they don't understand is it wouldn't be a burden if you held on and gave them hope. Because people are resilient for the most part. And most people will continue getting better if you praise and you keep assisting in the small steps, not bringing them backwards. And that is essential in success. So, if I was to suggest anything for any of you that have individuals that are struggling in their lives, a little hope, a little love, and a little praise goes a long way. You don't always need to have money. You don't always got to be enabling them. But you know what? Praise them for what they do right. Assist them with their goals. Assist them with the little thing that you can part with. Because after all it is material things. You've gotten it before. I don't know anybody that is later on in life a little bit that hasn't lost everything and gotten it back more than once. So for you to be fearful that if you give somebody something, you'll never get it again, I hope you heard me, because most people have lost more than once, and you've been able to get it again. I hope you're enjoying this topic tonight. It's not an easy one to talk about.
And Bob is here with us now, along with Phil Cly, a Marine Corps veteran who served in Iraq and is the author of the remarkable book, Redeployment. Welcome to you both. And Bob, I want to start with you as we go forward. And you mentioned that it could be 7 years out, but certainly since the war began, we're already there.
Yeah, well, that's true. It's 7 years, but when those that come back from the last deployment, let's make sure that they get the kind of the attention and help that they do, because that's the problem. It's true. The numbers have gone down in the last 4 years, which you see for the first time for all veterans, homelessness under 50%, 50,000 for the first time. But the big thing is to have the same thing happen with Iraq and Afghanistan vets as it did with Vietnam, which means let's do it. Otherwise, we're going to see this economy just slaughtered again in the future if we don't do it now and have them keep living on the streets.
And Phil, you have written a lot about this. Your book is remarkable. It is a piece of fiction, but very real. But you've also written a very powerful op-ed in the Wall Street Journal that's called Treat Us with Respect, Not Pity. So taking that into account, how do you help these veterans? How do you approach this?
Well, I think there's always a balance between acknowledging and thinking about the very real problems that veterans often face, particularly in that transition period, and realizing that when you're talking about the veteran population, you're often talking about people with a lot of potential. If you look back in history, when we invest in veterans, that's really good for us as a country. You're talking about people who often signed up to do a very hard, difficult job out of a sense of idealism. And so, and that continues once they, go back into the civilian sphere. But during that transition period, people can face a lot of difficulties, and which is why I think it's important to have the kind of networks in place to support them through that.
But you don't want everyone looking at the military as all heroes or certainly all victims, and I hear the same thing. But Bob, this is particularly PTSD and brain injury are a very real problem. You, through your wonderful foundation with your wife, Lee, the Bob Woodruff Foundation, have helped so many of the wounded. I will disclose that I'm on the board of that as well. But how have you approached that, taking into consideration what Phil there said?
Well, absolutely. They need dignity, and we also need to tell people that it's more like 25% have been affected by these kinds of issues when they come back. Maybe 75% of them are actually very good, and we know that companies that have hired them have been incredibly impressed with how well the veterans do when they come back, because they got discipline, they've got world experience, all of this, and they're generally older when they go to their first job in a company, so they've been really in some ways successful once they get to those companies. So that's exactly that. Don't make it post-traumatic stress disorder. Take out the disorder and treat them that way, and they're good.
Phil, what really worries me going forward is, we just talked to...
I like how he just said that. You take out the disorder and they're good. because it's true. You know, a person is not broken just because they have certain things that are wrong with them at the moment. And that's what I've told people that I have across from me on my desk. You can't always view yourself as a broken individual because you will never change. If you always see yourself as broken, you will never accomplish anything in life. If you have a broken person's mentality, you will never succeed. There has to be belief in that mindset of yours that you're going to heal. And these individuals that come back, like that senator just said, you know, they're hard workers, they're disciplined. They've done things that many don't like to do. I wish more people would stop looking at labels and start looking at the core of who we are. We're so stuck on labels. If you put a label on somebody, then they have to, the self fulfilling prophecy is if you call me something enough, I will start being it because I will believe in it. You must break that cycle. That self fulfilling prophecy kills you every time. Those labels keep you in control of something or someone. You must give yourself a freedom to be who you feel is your best version of you. You must get to that mindset where you are the one running the show, for better or worse. No, that's a nickname. That's your little, that's your boy right there, Heather. That's a nickname. A label is something that is used to keep somebody down. It would be like I'm bipolar, or I have ADD, or I have anxiety, or I am broken, or I am this, or I am that. Well, you might have these things going on with you. Without a, at one point in life, you got to let them go. You got to get better, get on medication, get what you need, and move on with your life. You know, I've herniated a disc in my lower back. Couldn't walk for 2 weeks. I could use that label and get out of so many things, but I refused to. I was I was brought up in a generation where you didn't make excuses for not being able to do anything about it. You just did it until you couldn't do it. Correct, Kim. You're so right on that. Person first language. The person is not their label. And no, we haven't heard about AR. um, so it's detrimental if you live based on what you perceive others view you to be. You know, be awesome, be amazing. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Baywatcher. Welcome. You know, it's tough. It's tough living in this world, but we must give each other support. We must give each other encouragement, hope. And understand that there are people that believe in other people, and I am one of those. That's why I distance myself from so many. That's why I keep myself away from high risk people who could tarnish my reputation, because I know who I am, and I definitely don't need others to speak on my behalf or who I am. You know what I mean? And when you get to that point in life, you don't ever want to go backwards, because like I told you guys earlier, I understand that broken mentality. I stayed there for years. I told myself, you're broken. This is the best you'll ever be. This is the best that'll ever happen to you. This is the best, this, that. You know what? It wasn't until I broke free of those chains. And I hope you do the same if you're struggling with that. But guys, I just wanted to show you guys a little bit on the veteran homelessness in America and bring some awareness to it. And you know, the next time you see a veteran on the street and they're holding up a sign or they're asking for money or whatever, if you can spare a little bit, give without expectations. You know, I know everybody works hard for their money. I know they work hard for everything they own. I can't imagine being on the street with nothing and knowing everything I used to have is gone. And a couple of dollars to get a drink because I have nothing. Try to remember that people just can't go in and get a job if they don't have a resident to put down where they live. They can't get a job if they're dirty, you know? Have a good night. The place, you're always welcome here. You know, try to look at situations a little different. If you can just give one person hope, it might be enough to plant that seed. You know? It's not our job to water it. But how many seeds have we planted and we look back and let the miracle happen? I hope it is, Rondi. I really do. Because I believe in change. I believe that people can change. You know, when I went to New Orleans the other day, I did notice something different. I went to New Orleans in 2014, and there was a lot of homelessness on the street. There was a lot of homeless people sleeping on the street, laying on the street. And when I went the other day, there wasn't a lot of homelessness around. And I wonder if they really are doing something different to clean up the city. And that would be awesome, you know? I know if I came to a lot of money or if I could get investors or whatever that were honorable people, I would build homes for the homeless, or I would get old apartment complexes and set up programs for the homeless, for people that were addicted to chemicals that were getting sober, or pregnant mothers, or troubled teens or anything of that nature because it is needed. Too fast, too fleas? No. Actually, I'm in Bama because I'm vacationing down here. You know, I've been through here a lot of times, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the people of Alabama. They're very kind and friendly. Unlike the people in Texas, I hate to say that, but it's the truth. People in Mississippi are kind. The people in Louisiana are kind. People in Florida, for the most part, are kind. But what I was saying is, you know, if our country needs a lot of help, and we need it from within. I believe together, if we just found a way to start helping each other slowly, we could start correcting a lot of things that have gone wrong instead of focusing so much on the problems and blaming what's wrong and who's wrong and this, that, and the other, instead of just being positive and trying to work toward a solution. Yes, I am on the beach. I actually busted out my drone today, and I was trying to get some beach footage, and I'm still not very good at flying it. And the drone ended up in a tree. So, you know how. But all is well that ends well. It was an awesome day regardless. Yes, it's very fun. Vacation's not over till next Wednesday. So, yeah, it was a crash. Um, but hopefully we get better at flying the drone. But back on topic, I hope that you guys do understand if you're doing well to continue going forward. If you're being successful, continue to set your goals and move forward because not everybody's broken, not everybody's struggling. I understand that. I talk very general in my videos. I try not to be a Debbie Downer, but I try to be a positive Petey, you know? So, but we all can agree that there's people with problems that need a little help out. And we need to get beyond the look on their skin, the look on their face, the look of what we view as being a person that needs help. And we need to just help people just to help them. You know, my grandma used to tell me, if you give freely. Do not give and expect anything in return or even speak that you gave. Just give it. And I always thought that if I gave stuff away, just like I was talking about a while ago, I would never get it back. But you know, in my lifetime, I've seen that everything I've ever gave away or lost, I've been rewarded 100 times over with what I thought I would never get again. Exactly. If you give freely, you will never be disappointed. Exactly. So I hope you enjoyed the commentary. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you enjoy my content, please take a moment and like the video. I do have memberships to my channel, and I do have merchandise. I'm trying so hard to bring the prices down. I just am going round and round with that company, so I might have to go somewhere else to get merchandise. I don't know yet. But you guys tell your friends, tell people you know about my channel. The more people we have, the more people that we can reach, and maybe more people we can give hope to. Because that's what I'm doing it for. Not for numbers, not for likes, not for subscription, none of that. Because there's a lot of people that are hurting right now, and I'm nobody's savior, but I can give people hope. I can listen. I can't save the world. But you know what? You can get one person to have hope. It starts making a difference. And I hope y'all have a wonderful night. And I will see y'all soon. Maestro, cue that music.